Okay, so I guessed it right, by the way. We are gonna be doing the lips, and as you can see, I have reference opened, and one of the things that I want to talk about is you can see the amount of volumes we have in the upper lip and in the lower lip. So this is like what we are gonna, have in mind. Right now, I have zoomed out the reference, but you can see that on the lower lip we have less volume, and on the upper lip we have more volume. So this is one of those things that we are gonna keep in mind because this is actually much more closer to our reference. You can see in the reference, the bottom lip in terms of volume between these details, it is kind of flat, and the upper lip is actually kind of more puffy. So yeah, this is what I actually wanted to talk about the reference. Now let's actually start sculpting the details of the lips. So first thing first, we are going to be creating these vertical lines, and these vertical lines are going to be the continuation of those lines that we already have. So yeah, these are, like, you can see that I'm actually just selecting a few of these lines, and I'm gonna just create these vertical lines. As you can see, one of the first step is basically just to do this, and you can like see in the reference how many of these you can skip and create more lines. So for example, some of these vertical lines literally go to the middle of the mouth, and some of these lines basically just stops in the, like, in 1/6 or 1/5 portion. So yeah, right now I'm just elongating these lines a little bit so that in the future I can actually pick few of these and start adding all these vertical lines. But yes, as you can see, one of them I have already started doing. So you can see that I am trying to create what we have in the reference, but you don't really need to be super precise, and you don't really need to be accurate. You just need to make sure that it gives you the feel of a lip, right? And it gives you the feel that yes, it actually is something real. References are not really meant to be used 100% accurately sometimes in this case because the volumes are incorrect. I'm talking about the bigger volumes, like you can see the reference of the guy who is above. Like the above reference, the bottom lip is actually a bit flatter, and in our case, the Amit G's lips are a bit more puffier. I'm talking about the bottom lip, by the way. You don't really have to 100% accurately match all these lines. I think the reason that you need to make sure that you match these lines is because they give you natural randomness, basically. And some of these randomness you might not be able to make on your own. So, I mean, the design and the pattern of the lips are basically what I'm referring to, and not the exact placement of these lines. So you're gonna see that I'm basically elongating all these lines that we have already there. And after I'm done with that, I am just gonna start creating these lines according to the reference. So as you can see, maybe I've smoothed this out earlier, and because of that, some of the pores have washed out a little bit, but it's totally fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And also make sure that these lines are not like super straight. As you can see, I am trying to create some of the randomness in these lines. And yeah, this is basically the first step. I am elongating the lines. You don't really need to. You can just start adding all the vertical lines first. But yes, everyone have their own way of approaching things, and you can experiment with your own. So now I am looking at the reference, and now I'm just going to try to create all these lines. So you can also see how these lines, like these vertical lines, have breakups in between them because of all those diagonal lines. So you see, you have these breakups in between, and also there are some horizontal breakups if you can see in the reference. So we are going to be trying to create all of those. And yeah, now I think it's time. Okay, so right now this is just a marking, by the way. I am just marking these lines, kind of like drawing those on a flat sheet of paper, is basically what I'm doing. And after I am done marking all this stuff, I am just gonna go back to start adding a little bit of volume in between. So right now, the only thing that I'm doing is just marking this stuff, and not really caring about whether the volume is correct or not. Literally just drawing this line, not really sculpting. So yeah, that's what the approach is right now at least. And I am gonna also start adding the diagonal lines after I'm done with the vertical ones. So yeah, you can see that I'm already started to add these diagonal ones, and literally just marking these first, not really caring about the volumes. After I'm done marking, I am gonna be adding the volume, so it's not really that big of a deal. You can see that I am still trying to copy the reference. You can like literally see, but it doesn't really need to be 100% accurate. So yes, this is also one of the things that you have the liberty to do, because no one really remembers how the lips look, right? I mean, at least these details. So you can be a little bit off, and it would still work. And in this case, I am pretty off, but I am only trying to copy the pattern, not the entire placement of these patterns. So these variations are still gonna look natural, and they're still gonna look like they belong. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna be start adding these diagonal lines. Sometimes you don't even need references. Like for example, in the corners, I actually have not used any of the references to create these, and I had to do it on my own. Only looking at the reference right now and trying to match it. As you can see, I am like adding the diagonals now. Just looking at the reference and trying to figure out where and how these diagonals are supposed to look. So you can see there are some faint ones as well, which I've just added, and there are some in the middle, as you can like see the lines that I'm like trying to figure out. And there is this opposite K, by the way, this mirrored K, which I have actually just added right now. So yeah, these are some of the things that I'm looking at while sculpting right now, and I am in the highest subdivision as well. So you don't really need to go lower down the subdivision, I think. Maybe if you are adding volume, you can go back the subdivision, but right now I'm in the highest one trying to mark all this stuff. So yeah, okay, now I felt like that I could have used a little bit of more strength and a little bit of broader brush, so that's what I'm doing. I am basically just trying to make things a little bit more deeper. So yes, that's basically what I'm doing right now. You can see one of the things that's happening in this particular area is as soon as you're going in the corners, the volumes are actually increasing in between these lines. So that's also one of the things that you need to keep in mind. As you are gonna go into the corners, the volumes are just gonna increase in between these lines. So yeah. Okay, right now again you can see that I am marking where I want the breakup in these lines. So yes, you can like see how I am like looking at the references and trying to make sure that I basically do the same thing, at least in terms of pattern. Not really worried about the placement because the volume and the size of the lips are different. So you are not really gonna get the placement right anyways. But the placement is not really that big of a deal in this particular case. Maybe if you were to making the same person that you can see in the reference, maybe the placement would have been the issue, and I would have actually tried to do the similar thing. But in this case, we are creating different person, and the entire shape of the lip is different. So the only thing that I care about are the patterns that we have on the lips and the volumes. So the patterns and the volumes needs to be correct, not the placement. So as you can see, I am like trying to add these diagonally on my own because I know there are going to be diagonal breakup, and because I cannot see that in the reference, I am just trying to add that on my own. Um, okay. Okay, so you can see that some of these lines actually felt like they could have been a bit more deeper. So I am just like going over them again and making them a bit deeper. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm doing, I think. Am I making them deeper? No, no, no. I've actually started to add a little bit of volumes, I think. So I can like go back to the roundness and make this brush a bit smoother, as you can see, so that I don't really have to use the smooth brush a lot. Even though I can in this particular area, you can use the smooth brush because there are no like details underneath, so it is totally fine to do it. But I still am using the I'm still using the smoother version of this brush. You can see that I've just used the smooth, so it's not really that big of a deal right now. And I have actually started adding the volumes, and the volumes are still going to be a bit flatter, by the way. They are not going to be puffy. As you can like see in the reference, they are kind of flatter. We are going to make the upper lip a bit puffier. So yeah, this is what I'm actually doing. Uh, because of the reference, we are trying to make sure that these actually looks a bit flatter, even though I am trying to add these volumes. The volume still needs to be a bit flatter. Okay, so I am using the inflate to basically pinch this particular part so that the crease would be much more sharper. If you want to, you can use the pinch brush or you can use the crease brush to create these lines. In this case, I am using the inflate, so you can like experiment on your own to see which one is basically working for you. In this case, as you can see, I'm trying both, and let's see which one actually works better. So, because this particular line is not deep, the inflate didn't really work that well, and that's why I'm actually gonna be using the crease brush. So yeah, you can. This is like situational again. You can use either the inflate or the crease or the pinch. It is totally up to you. So yeah, right now this is just an experimentation. By the way, I'm trying to figure out if the crease brush is gonna work better or not. And I think in this case, it actually is working better. So yes, this is totally up to you. Even though it actually have what do you like? It actually have stretched the polygons a bit. I think it still is a better option in this particular case. So yes. Okay, so because the blender was clipping, I had to decrease the size of clip start. And I think you already must have known this setting if you are someone who actually have gone to portrait making. I think you already know small settings like this. So I don't think I actually had to explain what I've just done. Again, you can see that I have started adding the volumes, and the volumes are not that puffy. Try to make sure that the volumes are still a bit on the flatter side, at least in this particular area. As we go to the corners of the lips, the volumes are gonna start getting a bit more puffier, and we already kind of knew that because we have a reference in front. In general, if you were to start sculpting the lips, maybe you won't actually knew it. So these are some of the benefits of having a reference by your side. And as you can see, I am kind of trying to pinch this stuff. You can use pinch brush or the crease brush or the inflate brush. I thought the inflate brush is gonna work, by the way, but in this case it actually is not working, so I am like using the crease brush. And yeah, again I can like start adding some of these volumes. By the way, these volumes I'm actually adding at the edges a bit more than the center, so that the lines could actually turn out to be a bit more deeper. So just to make these lines appear a bit more deeper, I'm actually adding a bit more volume and at the edges, as you can see, and not really that much on the middle. So yep, this is basically what the workflow is right now. Trying to make these lines a bit more sharper and deeper by adding the volumes accordingly. And you can see that I've just removed the volumes from the middle. So that is just to make sure that the volumes overall does not actually get puffier in the middle. Okay, let's see what else am I gonna do. And yeah, this video is actually approximately 2 hours long. So I am gonna be doing the both lips, I think, in this video. And this is gonna be exhausting as well, not for you, but for me. I gotta have to talk for 2 hours straight. So yes, that is gonna be fun as well. Right now you can see that I've also started adding the volumes in between these lines that we've like drawn bit in the lip, in that area where the lips are actually starting. So that is also one of those things that you can see in the reference. And okay, so in this case you can see that the inflate actually have worked better. So yeah, this is like situational thing. And you can see that I'm like breaking up these lines as well. So try to have these breakups as much as you can. Obviously, look at the reference. Don't like just break up for the sake of breaking up. See if the reference have it, and try to mimic it. That is gonna make the thing look a bit more natural because it actually exists in real. So we are at these lines, and you can use the crease brush to actually make these lines look a bit more sharper. And yeah, you can see that I am actually adding a bit more volume on the edges again, and not really that much on the middle. I mean, I am adding a little bit of in the middle, but they are not as much prominent as we have on the edges. So yeah, this is also one of those things that I'm doing right now, just because of the reference. Maybe your bottom lip actually have more volumes, so you're gonna have to add more volume. Obviously, in my case, as you can see in the reference, in both of the reference, the bottom lip does not have that much amount of volumes in between these vertical lines, by the way. I'm talking about the puffness, not the actual bigger secondary shapes. I'm talking about the tertiary shapes in this case. Again, you can see that I've actually added volume on the edges first. So again, the reason that I'm doing it is so that it does not get puffier in the middle, and the lines actually appear a bit more deeper than what we have right now. So just to make the lines a bit more deeper, I'm doing it. Okay, so again, you can see just for the sake of making the lines a bit deeper, I am basically, using the crease brush to go all over them again. Again, just trying to make sure that the lines actually appear a bit more deeper than they have right now. Also, I've started adding volumes in between these lines and smoothing these out for the sake of transition. And yeah, as I am gonna go to the corner, the volumes are gonna start getting a bit more puffier. So yes, this is one of those things. As you can see, this mirrored K, by the way, is pretty much on the edge on in the reference, but we have this in the front. So that's why I've told you I'm not really worried about the placement. I'm actually just focusing on the patterns that we have on the reference and try to copy those patterns in our portrait. Also, you can see that we have some of the horizontal diagonal lines that is basically going through the lips. So we are also going to be adding those in the future as well. But yes, right now we are only just breaking up the vertical lines with these smaller diagonal lines. Okay, one of those things that you're gonna see when I'll actually start adding the volumes and the surface finish is not as good, you can kind of keep this. This is just gonna give you more randomness. You don't really need to smooth this particular part out, and you can just keep it. It is just gonna create more randomness in your sculpt, and the surface finish doesn't really need to be super smooth in this particular case. And this surface finish that you get from the clay strip brush is just gonna help make the volumes look a bit more natural. So again, you can see I am like starting to add the volumes at the edges first, just to make sure the lines look a bit better. And I've already, like, there are so many sentences that I've repeated again and again in this entire course. I don't know why I do that, but you get the idea, right? Like, again, I'm doing the same thing, starting from the edges and going into the middle. And I think I'm just gonna smooth this particular part out. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that the process is pretty much the same. Started, added the volume again, doing the same thing. You can, if you actually want to, try out if the pinch brush basically works a bit better. In this case, I've used the inflate brush. So I think both of them works. By the way, have you ever thought that inflate brush could also be used to crease the edges like this? Like, this is also one of the ways you can use you use the inflate brush. Isn't it awesome? I think that's actually pretty awesome. Like, you can see I'm literally using the inflate brush to crease these particular lines and sharpening these up. But obviously, inflate brush does not work on the shallow lines. Like, we've already tried doing that, and because it didn't work, we had to switch to the crease brush to do the job. Okay, again, you can see that the surface finish is kind of bumpy, and it is okay. It is actually much better this way. Don't smooth this particular part out, because this way is just gonna make it look a bit more better, a bit more natural. In reality, you don't actually have that much amount of surface finish that you have to smooth all the things out. So yeah, just keep all the variation that you get from the clay brush or the draw brush, whichever brush you are using. Just keep the variations, and it's gonna look much better that way. Again, this video is gonna be pretty long, and right now I'm just doing the similar things. Literally, just have added the volume. I mean, adding the volume, not added the volume, and I'm just gonna keep on repeating the same thing. So I think it's time for me to just, just keep quiet and let you actually watch the video. And if anything were to come up in the future, I'm obviously just gonna come back to do the voiceover. And yeah, right now just watch it. Watch me just doing the lips. Just watch me adding all the volumes and stuff. Okay, so as you can see, as we are going towards the corner, the puffiness is basically increasing. So that's actually deliberate. I've already talked about it that in the corners, the volumes are more puffy, and that's what I'm trying to do. As you can see that, yeah, you can see like the volumes are getting much more spherical. The volumes are not actually flatter anymore. So this is obviously intentional, and I am just trying to look at the reference and try to, replicate it. And yeah, in the corners, actually, all of this stuff is basically just me created some of the vertical lines. Like there is no reference. I just kind of did all this part on my own because the reference basically ended kind of in the middle. So I had to do all this corner stuff on my own. And yeah, as you can see, I'm using the inflate again to do the pinching. If you want, you can actually try and use the pinching actually. Maybe that would work better. I should have tried doing that, but yeah, because the inflate was working, I really didn't had the need to try the pinch brush. But yeah, you can definitely try to do it. As you can see, like the process is pretty simple. I mean, obviously, it is time taking but the process is pretty simple. And I've told you we are not gonna be like using any of the textures, but you obviously can if you are creating a portrait. I mean, if you were to do it this way, again, get you are gonna get much more skillful, in my opinion, and also in Chris Costa's opinion, by the way. He also try to force people to do it manually so that they basically improve as an artist a bit more. Now, one of those things that you can see kind of in the middle of the lip where the mouth, basically the inner mouth starts. I am actually not really adding volumes, and that part is gonna be flatter. So I really hope that makes sense. By the way, you can like see your lips, uh, like where the transition of the upper lip, not the upper lip, but the outer part of the lip and inner part of the mouth starts. That particular part is actually smoother, and all these lines, all these volumes basically ends. That I really didn't said that quite well, but I still hope that you understood what I've tried to say. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm actually going all over these lines and try to pinch all this stuff so that they would actually turn out to be a bit more crisper and a bit more closer to each other. So that's basically what I've just did right there. And now I'm at the end of the corner. So these are the last few volumes that I actually had to add on this side. The other side is obviously still left to do, but you can see how I'm adding the volumes and stuff. Okay, so once we are done with this side, obviously we're gonna go to the other, and as you can see again, I'm trying my best to pinch these out so that these lines would be as crisp as possible. And now, yeah, now we just need to do the other side. So I am just gonna keep quiet again and let you watch the video. Okay, so we are about to done, adding the volume on the lip, and this is obviously not the final sculpt. We have not really added any of the variation that we need to have in the lip, but yes, in terms of volume, as you can see, it is kind of done, and I've also added this a little bit of subtle details. And okay, so you can see that I actually need to put these lines a bit back because you've seen that they were actually not back enough. So that's what I'm doing right now. Also, one of the things that I feel like I can talk about is Jan Hubert. If you are familiar with Blender, there is a possibility that you are familiar with him. He have just released Dynamo Dreams third episode. So yep, I'm not really gonna talk about what happens in the episode because honestly, I've not seen it yet, so I cannot. But I mean, what kind of guy is he? Like, he is doing all of that on his own? I mean, seriously, he must be lying, right? I mean, there is no way that you can do something like this on your own. I mean, the amount of knowledge that the guy have is, it's like so unreal. I mean, he do all the VFX on his own. Seriously, I mean, I actually cannot believe it. By the way, pretty sure he's lying. Also, one of the things that have happened recently is Rafael Grassetti. If you know him, he have just released his anatomy accouchés. So if you are interested in making anatomy or like learning anatomy, not making anatomy, but if you are interested in learning anatomy, I highly recommend you that accouché model. I think that accouché model is gonna be on his website. I mean, I don't know. He have just released it, and I've just seen the post on Facebook and Instagram. So I mean, he must have also uploaded it on the website, right? There is no way that he have not uploaded that on website, but yes, he have just released it. So there are two things that I've just told you right now, and you can actually just go and look at it. Oh, also by the way, Blender have just announced that they're gonna like implement a node system which is gonna be used as a simulation system. So okay, so I don't think I've said that right, but they're gonna be implementing a simulation system with the geometry nodes, I think, or maybe that's gonna be the different node setup. I don't know yet, or maybe I'm not read it quite accurately. Maybe it's gonna be the part of geometry system. I've totally forgotten, but yes, that is gonna be something that I'm gonna look forward to because right now, simulation in Blender is kinda average. I don't really like simulating in Blender. The quality of simulation itself are not really good, and it obviously takes a whole lot of time. So I think using geometry nodes with the simulation system is gonna be something we definitely have to look forward to and see. Epic Game is basically giving me some kind of offer right now. Okay, I'm not really gonna take it, but I've totally forgotten. Like it didn't really like I was so focused on sculpting that I haven't even realized that there is a notification on the right side corner and I cannot edit it out now. I mean, I technically could have edited out, but I don't really wanna like waste my time. It's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, simulation nodes in Blender is gonna be pretty awesome, and we're gonna see how it would perform. Like, is it gonna be as cool as simulating in Houdini? I don't think so, but at least it should be better than the previous system. And I'm talking about in terms of quality, in terms of accuracy. So yeah, we're gonna see. We are definitely gonna look forward to that. Um, but yes, right now, as you can see, I am only like continuing what I've just did because it was not back enough and it was actually poking. It was finishing too early and it was not going towards the middle part of the lip. So that's what I'm actually doing right now. Other than that, is there anything else that Blender is like doing? Is there any course that's gonna be available in the future that we can talk about? Are there any add-ons? I have no idea. I gotta have to see, things that I could talk about. But yes, simulation nodes are gonna be the next thing that I look forward to, and we're gonna see how that would perform. Okay, tell me one thing, in the comment. This video is about 2 hours long, right? So, what do you think about videos like that are that lengthy? Is it okay for you to watch these because in the end the content is approximately 60 hours long, right? I mean, I actually need to calculate exactly how long the total length of the content is, but I think if you are creating a course that is like about 60 hours long, actually I need to calculate. I still have not calculated. I'm just estimating right now. If a course is about 60 hours long, is it? I think it is okay to have videos that are like about 2 hours long, right? And I mean, the whole topic is covered in this one. We are gonna be creating the lip, like we are literally going to finish the lips. I think, if I'm not like mistaken. But yeah, okay. So in this case, as you can see, we have basically completed the volume kind of the sculpting, not the what I've just said. And okay, so I am kind of flattening this particular part out because you can see that this, even though they are more puffy, they are not actually round. So I am kind of removing that roundness from these shapes, these volumes, and yeah, after that, we are actually just gonna continue doing the upper lip, and upper lip are going to be more puffy. So right now, am I going to do the okay? So I think I've actually created this bump that you can see in the reference. So yeah, I think now I'm gonna start doing the upper lip if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I could actually be wrong. I don't really remember at what point I actually start doing the upper lip. I think I'm gonna start doing it now, but I could actually be wrong. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we are just gonna continue doing the. Yeah, 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 we are not jumping on the upper lip yet. Uh, I am starting to add a bit more variation in the lower lip. So, yep, let's forget about the upper lip right now because we are not doing it. So, okay. Okay, basically, I'm just dividing these straight lines with the diagonal ones so that there would be more variation in them, and it would look a bit more, natural, a bit more complicated at least, because right now it is pretty simple, and we are just trying to create a little bit of variation in them. Okay, so now that I've started added this variation, you can actually see this in the reference where you can see both the lips are meeting. You can kind of see this shapes that are like forming in the lip, and these shapes are not really that sharp. These are kind of smooth shapes. But yes, now we can actually talk about these horizontal lines that we have, as you can see, and the direction alpha that we've created. We can use that alpha to create these as well. So let me just open up the new brush, and let's just use the alpha, as you can see. And the stroke method is gonna be anchored. As you can see, anchored, and yeah, we can basically just use that in the negatives. So I'll just do that, and yeah, we can actually just start doing it with a little bit of change in the brush setting. I think it is gonna work, right? I really hope so. By the way, right now it might not be working, so let's just change it to airbrush so that we can add multiple of these. And yeah, you can see that now we can add it a bit more easily. So, yep, I am basically just trying to create these horizontal shapes now, as you can see. So, yeah, let's just actually change a little bit of setting. So, I think the strength could be a bit more, and maybe not that much. Okay, one of the things that you can see, if I were to press a bit more longer, the strength, the brush basically just keep on digging in. So I can just, touch the pen tab once, and this is the kind of shape that I can create. So if I'm not really using jitter, so it is basically going to sculpt this alpha on top of itself. So if I were to just press on one point, it is just going to, just going to dig deep, and I don't want that. That's why I'm just like pressing it once and then letting it go. So that's how I am actually creating these shapes without the jitter, by the way. So yeah, I am using this way of creating all these horizontalness. And if you feel like that you wanna like have some other way of doing it, maybe you might not actually like the way that I am doing it. So you obviously can do your own experimentation, and that's how you would learn. That's just how it is. I haven't really used this method before in Blender, so this is also my first time doing it, and I'm just showing it to you. So yeah, it was just experiment that actually made me realize that this method is basically going to work. And these there are just not the horizontal lines. There are also some of the vertical lines as well, and some of the diagonal lines. So I am gonna be trying and adding all of those. After I am done like using the alpha, what I'll start to do, I am just gonna choose few of these and gonna start digging them deep so that some of them would be a hero horizontal lines, basically a hero sculpt. You can see a hero. I don't know whatever you basically want to call it, but yes, you can see that I'm picking few of these, and now I'm manually trying to create those shapes that we've seen in the reference. So yeah, just picking a few of these randomly. By the way, it might seem like that I'm doing for all of these, but yes, this is like totally random. And if you want to, you can just go in between and then press control to, put them in the reverse so that you can, instead of removing the volume, would be able to add the volume. Okay, so yeah, now I'm just like picking these up and, trying to make them a bit more deeper than they are right now. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now. There isn't really anything